Principles for effective risk data aggregation and risk reporting. The financial crisis of 2007-2008, also known as the global financial crisis, is considered by many economists as the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression of the 1930s. The crisis made it apparent that the banks were struggling to quickly aggregate risk exposures or to identify concentrations for corrective actions. This had a severe consequence to the banks themselves and to the stability of the financial systems as a whole. Having learned the lesson from the crisis, regulators started focusing on banks' ability and willingness to improve their risk data aggregation and reporting capabilities. In January 2013, the Basel Committee on Banking Supervision, commonly known as BCBS, issued a set of best practices principles to both global and domestic big banks, mandating investment by banks into aggregation of risk data and their risk reporting capabilities. This was issued through a regulatory paper number 239 called Principles for Effective Risk Data Aggregation and Risk Reporting, or simply BCBS 239. BCBS 239 is a principle-based regulation. It outlines 14 principles across 4 categories, out of which 11 principles are for banks to comply, and the remaining 3 principles are for regulators to adhere to, and where needed, improve supervision capabilities. The 4 categories are overarching governance and infrastructure, risk data aggregation capabilities, risk reporting practices, and supervisory reviews, tools and cooperation. The adoption of these principles will enable fundamental improvements in banks' risk management by supporting a bank's efforts to enhance its infrastructure for effective aggregation. It will also improve the reporting of key information to a bank's board and senior management, information used to identify, monitor and manage risk proactively, thus preventing another financial crisis. If you would like to know more or need help complying with the regulation, please contact Rstacs Consulting Limited